GPS uses the SlamTech RP LiDAR A1 for autonomous tracking. The LiDAR should be placed within 50 feet of the area you want to be tracked. The LiDAR can be mounted on a shelf using M2.5 screws that connect to the bottom feet, or on top of a standard tripod that has a 1/4-inch mount screw. The LiDAR can detect motion to within 2 centimeters, so it is important that the LiDAR be mounted firmly to a shelf or stationary tripod that will not be moved during the presentation. We recommend the LiDAR be placed 4 feet above ground of the tracking area, so the LiDAR can detect the torso of the people you want to track. To mount the LiDAR on a tripod, you will need the Batson Engineering LiDAR mounting bracket, sold on globalpresentationstreams.com. Connect the bracket to the bottom of the tripod feet using the M2.5 by 8mm screws included with the bracket. Then place the 1/4-inch nut in the hex hole in the center of the bracket. Holding the nut in place, set the LiDAR on top of the tripod so that the 1/4-inch screw on the tripod aligns with the 1/4-inch nut on the bracket. Turn the tripod screw until the LiDAR is firmly in place, but do not over-tighten the screw. Connect the LiDAR to your computer using a micro USB to standard USB cable. The LiDAR receives its power from the USB port on your computer, so no additional power supply is required. Once the LiDAR is connected to the computer or USB extender, you will see it begin to spin. Most USB cables have a maximum range of 10 feet. If the area you want to track is greater than 10 feet from your computer location, you may need to use a powered USB extender to increase the range of the USB cable. At the computer, launch GPS. You will see the GPS camera control window displaying the data of your room as seen by the LiDAR. To calibrate the LiDAR, click Auto Track, then Calibrate. The LiDAR will determine the boundaries of your room. During this process, make sure there are no people in the area you want to track, so the LiDAR can create an accurate map of the space. When calibration is complete, you will see a map of your room drawn in light blue. You can use your mouse scroll wheel to zoom in and out of the map. When you walk within 50 feet around the LiDAR, you will see the LiDAR detect you on the map by drawing green lines with a purple square in the center. Any new objects that are as wide as a typical person will be detected by the LiDAR. So it is important that no new large objects are placed in the tracking area after calibration, or the LiDAR may track the object as a person. If the area you want to track changes and you see some new lines appearing on the map that are not from people, you can click Auto Track and calibrate again, or you can add those points to the map so they are not tracked. To add detection points to the map, click Auto Track, then Add Points to Map. Follow the instructions on the screen to highlight the points you would like to add to the map, then press the Enter key. The LiDAR will scan the area you selected and add those points to the map. If an object is removed from your tracking area and you want to track the area that was behind it, you can remove those points from the map. Click Auto Track, then Delete Points from Map. Follow the directions on the screen to highlight the points you would like to delete from the map, then press the Delete key. The LiDAR will scan the area you selected and delete those points from the map. After calibration is complete, you can add the camera locations to the map. First, using a keyboard, pan and tilt the PTZ camera so it is looking directly at the LiDAR. Zoom in as close as possible so the LiDAR is in the center of its video window in GPS capture. There are two ways to add cameras to the map. In both techniques, you should stand close to the camera or hold or place an object that the LiDAR can detect close to the camera, so that the lines appear at the camera location on the LiDAR map in the GPS camera control window. The first technique to add the camera to the map is to right-click on the purple dot in the center of the camera position of the map. Select the camera number in the drop-down and click OK. The second technique is to use the GPS Camera Config Tool mobile app. Follow instructions on globalpresentationstreams.com to download and install the GPS Camera Config Tool mobile app. Make sure your mobile device is on the same network as the computer running GPS capture, and make sure GPS capture is running. Run the GPS Camera Config Tool app on your mobile device. You should receive a message that the mobile app is connected to GPS capture. Then, on your computer, in the GPS camera control window, click Setup, then Set up Autonomous Tracking with Mobile App. In the window that appears, click OK. Under the text, "What would you like to do?" touch Set Camera Locations on Map. In the window that appears, providing instructions, click OK. You will now see the same LiDAR map on your mobile device. The controls at the top of the mobile app allow you to move the map up, down, left, right, and to zoom in and out for better visibility. Stand as close as possible to the camera so that you appear on the map, and touch the screen to place a red dot at the camera location. At the bottom of the mobile app screen, touch the button for the camera you want to set the location for. You should see a message that says the position was set in the LiDAR. Click OK to close the message. Repeat your chosen process above to set the position for all your PTZ cameras you would like to autonomously track the presenter. If you need to fine-tune the location of the camera, in the GPS camera control window, click on Setup, then Fine-Tune Camera Positions. Type the number of the camera you want to move, then use the arrow keys to move that camera location. You will see the small green square representing the camera move on the map. Note that the up and down arrows move the camera position closer to or farther away from the center of the map, the LiDAR position. And the left and right arrows rotate the camera position angle around the LiDAR position. When you have placed the camera in the correct position, press Enter when done. Your next step to set up autonomous tracking is to set the default pan, tilt, and zoom of each PTZ camera. These default values will be where the cameras point when the system turns on and will be used to control the cameras during autonomous tracking. Click Setup, then Set Default Pan, Tilt, Zoom Values. Instructions will appear on the screen. Make sure a person or object is at the position where the presenter will start, like the center of the stage, and detected by the LiDAR with green lines. Using the keyboard, adjust the cameras to point at the presenter and set the zoom value you would like the camera to maintain throughout the presentation. This will allow the presenter to walk towards the camera, and the camera will zoom out to keep the presenter in the shot. Also, if the presenter walks away from the camera will zoom in to keep them near the default zoom value you set. When all cameras are positioned and zoomed to your desired values, press Enter. If you want to fine-tune the default pan, tilt, or zoom values, click Setup, then Fine-Tune Default Camera PTZ Values. Follow the instructions on the screen and press Enter when done. GPS capture controls PTZ cameras using the VISCA protocol. In addition to allowing pan, tilt, and zoom controls over VISCA, some cameras also allow adjusting the focus and gain over VISCA as well. To adjust the focus or gain, click on Camera Controls, then Autofocus, Manual Focus, Auto Gain, or Manual Gain. Follow the instructions on the screen to adjust manual focus or gain. When finished adjusting manual focus or gain, be sure to select Camera Controls and Pan Tilt to allow the arrow keys to control the pan and tilt values again. To allow the system to only autonomously track people within a specific area of the room, like the stage, you can draw a shape around the tracking area. GPS will only track people within this area and ignore everything outside this area. To draw the tracking area, click on Tracking Area, then Draw Tracking Area. Click on the map to place your first point. Then move the mouse to new positions and click to place new points. Keep placing points to draw the shape to outline the tracking area. When finished, double-click the map to place the final point and close the tracking area shape. Click Tracking Area and Save Tracking Area to save the tracking area for the next time you run GPS. When you want to use the tracking area the next time you run GPS, click Tracking Area, then Load Tracking Area. Now you are ready to autonomously track your presenters. Click on Auto Track, then Start Auto Tracking. To test the tracking, walk around the area within 50 feet of the LiDAR. You should appear on the LiDAR map, and the PTZ cameras should follow you autonomously. To stop autonomous tracking, click Auto Track, then Stop Auto Tracking. At any time you are running GPS, if a camera loses connection or you cannot control it, click on Refresh Cameras, then Refresh Camera Connections.